All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer with Brandon the Grizzly, and we're here to review Captain America: Brave New World. So we're gonna get into our likes, our dislikes. We're gonna get into the rating at the end. And if you're in our live chat, make sure you guys leave comments. Let us know because we're gonna get into those comments at the end of the review. But before we get into all of that, just a quick rundown. We got Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross. He is recasting William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. Then Sam Wilson. I know,
Too
right?
soon.
Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson. Then we got Danny Ramirez, Joaquin Torres, Giancarlo Esposito's in this one. Liv Tyler's coming back. Tim Blake Nelson, Carl Lumpley coming back as Isaiah Bradley. And then a few other people, but those are your kind of your big ones. Oh, and then Shira Haas.
Yeah,
she was Sabra.
Sabra. So. That was weird, but okay.
Yeah, because she's like 2 foot. Like she's got to be like 2 feet shorter than everyone else.
Like literally,
easily.
like she looked like
she looks like
I was watching Wicked. I really thought I was watching Wicked. It was like one of the monks. She's like coming.
She was
in,
so
like,
tiny. She was so tiny,
and she's doing all these badass moves. I'm like, why don't they just stand up?
You know who she kind of reminded me of a little bit. You guys know that actress Linda Hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She kind of reminded me of a much younger Linda Hunt from a physical standpoint.
Okay, I can see that.
Okay.
Principal and Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. Yep.
But I feel like
she's on NCIS.
Yeah, no, I think you're really good with that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I just feel like that was the point though. It was like when she's like swinging on them, I'm like, "Are you like 75 pounds?" I'm like 4'2".
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to swing to get your momentum to get me to do anything but almost bend over a little bit, like, now I'm just gonna stand up. And now
I know they tried to justify her as
Black Widow.
being from a widow and being from the Red Room, but even then I had a little bit of trouble with it. But
yeah. But she says she's the same height as Scarlett Johansson, 5'3".
Really?
And she's 5'2". Wow. Yeah, they just made her look small.
They just made her look, like
how? Because she looked so tiny.
So tiny, yeah. Mm-hmm. But she's really the only new player in this new movie. Everyone else is we've seen before in some capacity, whether it be on screen, the big screen, or on TV. But yeah. You got a breakdown of what it is, Brian, before we jump into?
Of course, always ready.
Right, what we got?
Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident. After meeting with the president, Thaddeus Ross, he must soon discover the reason behind the nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red.
Funny. But yeah, cool. Yeah, and like I said, we'll get some of the details. So if you haven't seen it, hit pause, go check it out, and come back and join the conversation, because we're gonna get into some spoilers and we don't want to ruin it if you want to stay spoiler free. But Brandman, what are your positives on this one? What you think about it?
Notebook. All right. I thought it had like a really good establishment of Sam, center stage as the new captain, and eventually the potential leader of the Avengers in a year plus's time. I thought they did really good with that. Like that he really had his time to shine. It felt just self-contained enough, it was kind of in its own corner, but it did do just enough kind of world building, but it never felt excessive or shoehorned to me. I thought that it used a lot of practical action scenes, which obviously felt appropriate to the character.
Yeah.
I liked I think Captain America's also at its best when it kind of has that political thriller, serious vibe to it. And it did that kind of like Winter Soldier did, but it still kind of felt like it had its own tone, also appropriate, new character. I thought it was pretty well acted around the table. Anthony Mackie, like I mentioned, he really got to shine. Other standouts, Carl Lumpley was great. He made every single second of screen time he made count. I was worried a little bit about Harrison Ford when I heard he was gonna be replacing William Hurt, and that's nothing to take away from him. He's a great actor. I just thought he was going to be like more recent Harrison Ford personality that we kind of know him as. But he really I liked him, and it had one of my favorite songs from MOP. And the action sequence like near the end of the second act, probably one of my more favorite MCU action sequences. I thought that was awesome.
Are you talking about the dogfight?
The dogfight
in the water? Yeah, yeah.
Dogfight.
That one was awesome.
I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
And yeah. Those are my pros on it.
Okay. What are you, Brian?
I loved the connection you saw with Sam Wilson and Isaiah Bradley. I thought that was essential in the fact that they got this friendship and they understood how important he was and that he never, forgot about his friend. He never let his friend down. That was his motivation. And for him being an older version of him that took the serum that America kind of used, him keeping him at in the highest regard was so essential to me for that character to understand who that character is. I thought that was, the fact that they highlighted it was perfect. I love the seriousness of, the whole Captain America movie itself. Understand how serious it is for a person who without powers to try to be a hero and take on a mantle and have to be perfect in every way, because if he's not perfect, he dies. And they kind of spelled that out a lot throughout the movie. Show how much training he does. And then I know I hate to skip to this point because this is just one of my favorite points. The thing that he said to Falcon when he's in the bed, and he's talking about how I have to be perfect
point.
Because I'm carrying the entire culture. Every time they look at me, I'm carrying everyone before me, everyone after me on my back. I have to be that, because if I don't, it could ruin entire generations of people. Like, it just was so on point. And then his response was elite too. And then he's talking about how I looked up to you because I'm from a poor neighborhood in Miami, and this is how I grew up. And you're a minority there, and I'm a minority here. And I want to be you. I didn't want to be any of those other people because I can't be them. They're superheroes. They're super people. But I wanted to be you. You gave me, all this motivation to do the right thing and be those things. I think those parts are just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was literally a hero. He was a superhero. He did all the stunts. He did all the things that it takes. Even the conversation between he and Bucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, why he was chosen. That was so good.
Yeah.
The conversations in this movie are elite.
Mm-hmm.
The feelings in this movie are elite. And I really applaud them for those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, some of the dialogue is 50-50. Some of it's kind of clunky, which we'll get into a little bit. But I think the important conversations, like you said, Brian,
the conversations
were good. We're really good.
Not the script, the conversations.
Yeah, because like the thing Bucky said to which also Bucky showing up, I did not really expect it. I was kind of thinking he might, but I wasn't really sure. That was a great little cameo. Didn't overstay its welcome. Came in, did what it had to do, put him back on track, and then left.
Yep.
And then we got a little bit of what's going on with Bucky too, like a little whole crap. But the thing he said to Bucky was, or Bucky said was, Steve gave them something to believe in. You give them something to aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that was so good. And then they kind of
great.
joke about it a little bit, because it's like, hey, that's too good for you to say. Who wrote that for
Who wrote that?
But that is such a great quote, because you can believe in something when it's godly, like Steve is a superhero, he has powers. He's not a normal dude, so it's like you can believe in that, like, believe that he's gonna save you. But Sam, and even like the faulties of Sam is like, damn, I should take this serum. I
Mhm.
I need this, you know. And Bucky's like, no, man, like you don't need that because what makes you special is you being who you are. That's what makes you special, you know. And people aspire to be to you, you know. And then later on, it ties into it with Joaquin. He's
Exactly,
like, I
Joaquin.
want to
Yeah.
be like you, you know. So
Mhm.
it's like, here's this person telling you, and then here's the person proving what he
That
just
point.
told you, you know. So
Mhm.
I thought that was really well done. But just I think the action was good. I enjoyed a lot of the action. Even with the Hulk at the end, I wasn't sure. There's a few parts I kind of laughed at, like when he first transformed, you know. But the rest of it was really solid. Like and it looked good. I thought it looked really good. Him as Red Hulk was well done. You know, with being the CGI. And they handled him as Sam, they handled him not having powers, I think, well. You know, because a lot of people, that was the biggest issue. Like, how's this dude gonna fight this? How's this dude gonna do this? How is he gonna be Captain America without any powers? And I think they talked about it, they explained it, and I think they did a good job with it, you know. Like, even when he was like losing a fight, he still never gave up, which is very Captain America like,
Mhm.
and he still won, you know. So yeah, you know, I had nothing, I had no major issue with him being Captain America. It worked. It really
Yeah.
did, you know. You know.
Mhm.
But you know, even I thought the plot was solid enough. You know, I was kind of worried that the plot was going to be too either too convoluted or too boring. And it was kind of in the middle, which wasn't horrible, and like nothing ever happened or didn't happen where I was like bored. You know, I was like, "Ooh, okay, okay," you know. Um so yeah, the plot I didn't mind. And then obviously I got to go back to what you guys said with some of the supporting cast, because Isaiah Bradley was
Awesome.
great. Oh my god, how you cannot cry when he's doing the one-on-one meeting in the prison, and he's telling me,
I
he
don't want
goes
this to
like,
touch you, Sam. He didn't
oh,
care
he didn't
about
care.
me. He's like, no, this can't touch you.
Touch you, because he knows the importance of what Sam is doing, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm not in the spotlight anymore. I heard that time passed, all that stuff happened. He goes, but you, man, you gotta be it. And it was so well done. It was so well done with that. And then when he looks at Sam and he's about to cry, he goes, I can't go back in there. I was like, bro.
Mhm. And
Oh
he's
man.
begging him. He says, please. I say, please. And he's begging him. He's begging his friend to
Mhm.
do
It
this again.
was,
Oh,
yeah, coming. I was like, damn, come on. That was good.
and then after they
Yeah,
found out that he was innocent, they still didn't release him.
yeah, 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 which says a lot. Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, and I agree with everything that you guys said. I don't want to repeat it too much. But let's get into some of the negatives. What are some things you didn't like about this movie, Brandman?
Um, I think at some points the pacing just kind of was a little uneven from time to time. Um, I think the biggest sin this movie committed, at times it kind of felt like it was more preoccupied with being an Incredible Hulk sequel
Mhm.
rather
Oh,
than a
yeah.
Captain America continuation. Like they were, and it's always good to tie loose ends. I've been waiting for loose ends from the Incredible Hulk movie to be tied, but uh, it seemed a little more, it felt like an unofficial Hulk sequel. With like a Captain America storyline kind of peppered in here and there. The leader, I'm not sure I felt about the way he looked.
Yeah.
Look like some chewed up bubble gum.
Exactly. It
Uh,
looked like.
there
Like
was some
Grandpa Simpson.
yeah, right. There was some concept art that looked great. A little more straightforward. I kind of wish they
Mhm.
had stuck with that. And they didn't do enough with the leader's abilities. I thought, if you're familiar with them in the comics, I thought they could have.
Yeah. Oh
There
yeah.
was more they could have done with that. I think it really sucks with a comic book movie, like when you don't do enough with the character. And there were times where it almost kind of felt like it was made for Disney Plus rather than the big screen at times.
Mhm.
just you know, I'm happy we got a movie, but there were times where it kind of felt more like it was potentially shot for Disney Plus. I know that might sound weird.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I understand why you're saying it though.
Yeah, and yeah, those were my big. Those were my really glaring things, especially the fact that it kind of felt like a Hulk, Incredible Hulk sequel. I think that was kind of like my most glaring problem with it.
Mm. Okay. What are you, Brian? Some negatives.
My number one is I think they did a terrible job, just like they did the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I feel like they had a terrible villain, or they did a terrible job with the villain. You know, a great movie becomes epic because of the villain. The hero's going to be a hero. They're going to win and do all the other stuff. When you do a terrible job, the leader could be a good villain. They didn't do a good job with it. I thought that was, and you weren't even sure who the villain really was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have it Cap versus Red Hulk, but really you made Red Hulk feel like he was a sympathetic leader. He's trying to change. He's trying to do all these things. He wasn't really the villain. It was just it was happenstance. You know, so too much of the movie didn't have good versus evil. Too much of the movie was more, this guy kind of got screwed over, so this happened to him, and this guy kind of got screwed over, so this happened to him, and they're just, you know, they're only bad because of what happened, you know, because of their circumstances. Instead of giving you a definitive, this is the evil person, and we're going to make them a good villain, and we're going to let you defeat that villain. I did not like that they did that, and it was just lacking in those points. Mm-hmm. Then I agree with the whole Red Hulk. It was a lot of focusing on him. I think Ross, you do want to tie up some of the loose ends, but it was a lot of his family problems, his overall overarching issues. And I think it worked the way they're trying to go with the movie, but I don't think that's what I wanted out of my Captain America movie, if that makes sense. So not that it, you know, what they did was wrong, it just didn't work enough for me. And parts of it still felt like it was kind of pieced together. Like, you know, you had a fabric, right? And then you decided to add this little piece, and it looked like you added that piece instead of trying to make it match the rest of the movie. Yeah. You know, so I think that's what, and Brandman said pacing. I think that's what kind of comes out of it. But overall, I don't have a lot to say about it, but those things are what stops it from being a really good movie. I think that's where it stops. Yeah.
I think for me, like the biggest issue was the pacing, because there's times when the pacing was like really slow, and then there's times when like a lot happened really fast, you know, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. So the pacing, I think it was just kind of up and down. And then like you said, like the villain was kind of the issue, because like in our live chat right now, you guys are talking about
Giancarlo. Yeah, was he good? Was he the villain? He was just a guy.
Yeah, he was just a guy. You know, he was a hired guy. You know, he was a hired gun. You know, so like, and a lot of people are like, he's wasted, and I get if you want to see he's wasted, because like you don't get a great actor and put him in like 4 scenes or whatever. But you know, but they don't kill him, so he can show up later, which is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out.
Yeah.
So Allen, whatever, you know, so I'll get out.
Allentown, something like that. So, but that was the issue too. Was like, how many bad guys do we need in this one? You know, because then you got like the Red Hulk kind of at the end is kind of the bad guy, and then you know, Giancarlo's character, I forgot who it was. Like,
I think he was Sidewinder.
Sidewinder, but exactly.
Sidewinder, like he was kind of the bad guy, but he was just kind of a hired mercenary. Yeah, you know, and then the whole time they were kind of like hiding behind the leader, and then they do the reveal, and I just feel like it wasn't like a big reveal. Like, I don't know, I just feel it wasn't a satisfying villain in this one, you know. And like Brandman said, that they should have went more into him being like a genius, you know,
his
like
intelligence being.
I
think it was like better. It was better done than The Boys.
With like the smart person. With, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Yeah,
like it was better done in that TV show than it was done in this movie.
Yeah,
and that they didn't flesh out the real villain. They kept on saying, "Oh, this could be the villain. This could be the villain. This could be the villain. This could be the villain," instead of saying, "This is the villain." Period. And he's evil.
Yeah. Like they should have hinted at him a little earlier, and they did, but it was way too vague. Like it should have been like he's the bad guy, and we'll get to why he's the bad guy later.
Yep.
You know, but instead it was just like, oh, this hidden figure kind of thing. I don't know. And yeah, he looked kind of goofy. He looked way goofy with it, you know. And then I don't know, like the reasoning why he was doing it didn't seem good enough. You know, so that was like that was part of the biggest issue, was just the villain of it all, you know. Like people are saying the dialogue was crappy at times. I was like, it's a comic book movie, man. Like I'm not like expecting like freaking Shakespeare or like anything crazy, you know. Like you know, it needs to be good enough to move along, and it was, you know.
Yeah, the only dialogue I didn't like, I thought the leader had some bad dialogue.
He had some bad dialogue. There's some times when they were back and forth, you know, and then they were like, you know, drop a bunch of like information all at once kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But it didn't ruin anything for me, you know. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of, I'm trying to think of like besides what you guys already said, you know, with too much, I don't want to double dip. But yeah, I just feel like it could have been a little tighter with the overall story. And that's what was keeping it from being like a great movie like that. You know, it's just the little things with making a more of a better villain, you know. You know,
Yep.
You know,
if you have an epic
good,
villain,
he was good. Yeah.
If you have an
He
epic
should
villain,
have
then all
been.
of a sudden the movie becomes
He should have been
great.
Yeah, he should have been. And then, well, there's one thing I do gotta say about like this being a Hulk sequel, because it kind of is. It kind of is. But also, I feel like people love Civil War. Civil War was Avengers 2.5. It was 2.5. You know what I mean? With a Captain America story going on. How can you be okay with that, but then be upset that this is like a continuation of the Eternals and the Hulk with Captain America kind of as the connecting branch of it all? You know, it's like it's almost like that's kind of what he starts to do now. You know, Captain America is like it's trying to tie in loose ends to make the bigger picture, you know, because that's what this movie is. This movie is not, it's not Infinity War, it's not Endgame. It's a movie that starts to tie things in, and starts to build the bigger picture, you know. You know, and I feel that we lost that in a lot of this phase with building the bigger picture, because right now, what's the bigger picture? You know, like variants. I was like, that's not a big picture. That's just some random shit. You know, like this is building a thing. You know, like here's Adamantium. Here's this character. Here's this character. You know, now here's things moving, and things are building up to an Avengers movie. You know, so I didn't mind it being like a Hulk sequel as much as other people are upset about it.
I feel like also that it should have been longer, and you should have fleshed out, because the focus on, I think they the detail that you had on Captain America was good, but it should have been more detail on Captain America.
Yeah, it definitely
You
could have
understand what I'm saying?
benefited. Yeah, it definitely could have benefited from like another 30 minutes tacked on to it.
Honestly.
Of, you know, jumping into who he is, what's the motivating of it. Like they hint at it, but they don't really get into detail about it. I think that makes you, if it's a Captain America movie, you need to know more about Captain America, right? This is his first movie as Captain America. So this is like between the first Avenger, which is all detail, and you know Winter Soldier, which is still about him because it's about his past too. So like I feel like you should have had more detail on him to call it a Captain America movie. Not that you need less on Thunderbolt Ross, you just needed more of him. And it would have balanced out the movie.
So here at Spoiler Kings, we keep things nice and simple. Now, later, never. Now means you got to go watch it right now. Later means you can wait till it's at home streaming, and never means just skip it altogether. Brandman, what are you giving Captain America: Brave New World?
This will be a now. I had a fun time. This was a fun watch. It's nowhere near the train wreck that others are trying to make it out to be. I think this is definitely a very enjoyable movie. I had a fun time. It set up you know, Sam as why he's worthy of the mantle of Captain America and why he's fit to lead the Avengers. I'm really excited to see him interact with the Avengers next year. I like the tone of it. I think it did a lot right. Not a perfect movie by any means, but a very entertaining watch. So I can easily give this a now.
Okay. What about you, Brian?
I'm 100% giving it now. I'm not saying it's the best MCU movie ever. No, not even. Is it top 10? Probably not. But is it good? It's a good quality movie with good undertones of prejudice and racism and America in itself and brotherhood and all these and the world, the way that America is being seen by the world, and even the way that the president was so involved in all this stuff. There's a lot of things there that you can look at today and say, hey man, that makes sense. I can relate to this. I can relate to that. So, it's definitely a now movie. As far as saying it's it's a great movie, it's not. It's a good movie. I don't even think it's okay. I think it's good. So that just tells me right now it's a now.
Yeah. And for me, it's the same. I think I'm gonna give it a now. I had a fun time watching it. It gave me what I wanted. It gave me Sam as Captain America on why he's Captain America, and it kind of helped build like what's coming next kind of stuff, but the same thing is like, is it a perfect movie? No. Is it the best Captain America movie? No, but it's definitely like a fun time, a solid watch, and I think you'll enjoy it, and then the messages that Sam gets, as just a normal person in a world of superheroes, and also a black man, in a world of these of like with white men, just superpower white men, and the history of Isaiah Bradley, kind of lingering over him, that lingers over Falcon or Sam and Captain America, that title of Captain America. So yeah, I think it's a now. I think it's you should be able to enjoy it enough at a theater. So well, I did. I just watched a regular laser AMC and looked good and had fun.
I want to read this one thing before we get off this topic.
Go ahead.
All right, just a little post. That's all. Said a teeny tiny part of me was hoping that Sam would eventually take the serum, but I actually appreciate they intentionally in showing the intentionality of showing that this black man training and working twice as hard, proving that he's not genuinely capable. Proving that he's not genuinely capable. Very black, no juice, all heart. And then said, this other person said, NGL, a black man working twice as hard to live up to something a white man was given for free is exactly 100%.
Yeah.
Just saying, I'm going to leave that right there. I'm not even going to discuss it. I'm just going to leave that there.
That is our thoughts for Captain America: Brave New World. We'll probably talk about it more later on, in the upcoming weeks, just because we'll see it again, and we'll probably bring up a new topic. So, it's going to be something we talk about until we see Thunderbolts and until we see Fantastic Four, because I'm sure they're all going to play into each other. But we want to hear from you guys. Leave your comment down below. Let us know what you guys think about this movie. Did you like it? Did you hate it? We're all giving it a now. We all enjoyed it. So we want to hear from you guys. Leave your comments. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Come and join us live every Monday and Thursday when we do our movie reviews, TV discussions, trailer reactions, all that fun, nerdy stuff. And come join us in the live chat. If you are in the live chat, stick around because we're going to get into our next topic right now.